High school football's back, and so am I. Hey, welcome to the Hobbs News Sun Friday night snap count. Let's get it. Let's go. Welcome to the Friday night snap count, brought to you by the Hobbs News Sun, a new show right here on YouTube, meant for you guys right here, high school football players right here in the state of New Mexico, Southeastern New Mexico to make it clear. We are going to bring you highlights week after week of your favorite teams in Southeastern New Mexico. That's right, the Hobbs Eagles, Lovington Wildcats, Carlsbad Cavemen, Artesia Bulldogs, the Goddard Rockets, Roswell Coyotes, Nimi Colts, and even your small schools like Hagerman, Dexter, Loving, Lake Arthur, Tatum, and of course the defending state champions in Class 2A, the Jal Panthers and the Eunice Cardinals. We want to bring it all to you week after week after week. Matter of fact, if you're in Seminole, we want your action too, along with Denver City. If you live in this area, we want to make sure to highlight your program. But it's going to take a little bit of help from everybody around. We need parents, coaches, everybody to make sure that they call into the snap count every Friday night. Give us a box score. Send us video to our email here. Hey, you've got your iPhone out. I know you do. You're watching your kids. You've got your iPhone out. Send us your highlight reels, your little short highlight videos. We will make sure to get them on the snap count one way or the other. You know why? Because the big stations, they're not making sure to highlight your programs. We want to make sure that we do. So again, if you are a parent, a coach, an administrator, anybody who covers or watches what's going on week after week on Friday nights, make sure you get a hold of us right here at the Hobbs News Sun Friday night snap count. Hey, we're going to jump into the first week of it right now, starting off with the Hobbs Eagles. Let's get right into this week's action as we start off in Clovis with the Hobbs Eagles invading those hated Wildcats on week 1 of the season. Right off the bat, you have first-year quarterback Brock Beatty finding Justin Black on a 35-yard go route. The Eagles go up 7-0. But Beatty, along with Saul Almendares, found the RPO game to be working nicely all day. Big holes coming in that line. And actually, even when Beatty puts the ball on the ground here, you got guys like Black jumping right on top of it to keep the drive going. Beatty later on punches one in from 1 yard out. That's his 4th touchdown of the day to go along with his 3 TD passes, and the Eagles roll 41-13. It's their first 3-game win streak over Clovis in over 23 years.
Congratulations on the win tonight.
Thank you very much.
First time Hobbs has won 3 straight since 98, 99, 2000, and first time Hobbs has ever scored 40 points back-to-back seasons against Clovis.
Hey, you know, we're moving in the right direction. Our kids are confident now. They no longer hope to beat Clovis. They know they can, and they expect to. And so I think that's the big difference.
Defense played big tonight. Tell me about the defense.
The defense came up with a lot of big stops for us, and that was key because the way they play offense, if we were to allow them to control the ball and shorten the game on us, we knew it was going to make it tough on us. And so, you know, like I said, defense did a great job of getting some stops early on in the first half that allowed us to put some points up real quick and get up on them, and that was the difference.
You know, we talked earlier about Zayden having to be one of the guys to step up. He had a heck of a game tonight. Several tackles, including your first tackle of the game, big fumble recovery.
Yeah, Zayden played outstanding, and that's what we expect from him. He's a senior. He's a 2-year starter. He's got big shoes to fill, but he's doing a good job.
New quarterback again this year. Tell me about his play tonight.
I thought he played well. I mean, I was, to be honest with you, I wasn't sure. But I thought he played really well. I really did for his first game out. He had a touchdown pass to Justin Black, and two touchdown passes, I believe, to Jeremiah Hawkins, and had a rushing touchdown also. So good night. I'm not sure his percentage throwing, but the main thing is he had no turnovers, led his team to a victory, and that's a plus in my book.
Anthony Gonzalez and the Lovington Wildcats are hoping that the road less traveled will lead to fortune this season in Class 4A football, as the Wildcats played host to the smothering defense of the Class 5A Roswell Coyotes on Friday night in Game 1. Quarterback Manny Fuentes of the Coyotes opened scoring with a 1-yard TD run in the first half, and he added TD passes of 25, 6, and 15 yards to take a 28-point halftime lead, as the Wildcats were unable to get on the board until midway through the third quarter, when Kamon Ochoa had a 58-yard TD run, which he followed with a 78-yard TD run later. Cesar Gonzalez did get a 73-yard TD pass from Gomez late in the game, but it wasn't enough, as the Coyotes waxed the Lovington Wildcats 45-18 in Week 1. Thursday night, the Jal Panthers pushed their win streak to 14 straight games, dating all the way back to the 2021 state championship game, beating the Centennial JV from Las Cruces 42-20 on the road in their season opener. Fourth-year head coach Dusty Giles wasn't as concerned as the 14th straight win as he was one in a row for 2023, as the Panthers jumped out and did what they're supposed to do, beating a JV team, albeit a very good one, on the road Thursday night. Andre Rodriguez opened the scoring with a 43-yard touchdown run in the first quarter, a score which held until the second quarter, when Ito Arroyo rushed for a 32-yard TD, and Rodriguez's extra point was good, making it 13-0 at the half. Daniel Ornelas made it 20-0 with 5 minutes remaining in the first half, but then a touchdown and 2-point conversion from Centennial Junior Varsity cut into that lead and made it 20-8 after a 2-point conversion. But Jal was not done scoring in the opening half, as they marched down for another TD, getting it with less than a minute to play before halftime on a 5-yard run by Nolbert Cervantes. Cervantes, after losses of 35-0 and 42-14 to the Raton Tigers in 2021 and 2022, respectively, the Eunice Cardinals were hoping to get this season started off with a competitive showing against the Tigers on Thursday night. They did just that and more with a 40-29 win over the Tigers at neutral Tucumcari Thursday night, and starting their season 1-0. Eunice running back Elijah Woods had himself a night, rushing for 235 yards and 2 touchdowns to lead the way for the Cardinals. Woods' 45-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter gave the Cardinals a 27-22 lead that they would never relinquish. A Luis Gomez interception on the ensuing Raton possession, as quarterback Elijah Melancon connected on a 17-yard TD pass. Senior receiver Ashton Thompson giving the Cardinals a 34-22 lead, which they extended to a 40-29 lead following a Raton touchdown with a Melancon 11-yard TD run to cap the scoring. Eunice travels to Estancia next Friday for a rematch of a quarterfinal game from last season, which the Cardinals won 35-34. Another rivalry tonight took place there in Carlsbad, with the Artesia Bulldogs coming to town to take on the Carlsbad Cavemen. Artesia paced them 55-7 with a huge second quarter. We had Rusty Shackelford there in Carlsbad checking out the action. What did you see out there tonight, Rusty?
Jason, I saw a lot of orange. Artesia was able to move the ball at will. His defense was able to make big plays when big plays were needed. Artesia started the game moving the ball down the field, got intercepted in the end zone. Carlsbad made a big play there, but right back Artesia blocks a punt by Grant Johnson, recovers it in the end zone for the first score of the game. Carlsbad got the ball, moved it down the field. Perez threw a 25-yard touchdown pass to Castaneda, make the score 8-7. But that was it for Carlsbad. Estrada threw 2 touchdowns to Kahn, one for 37 and one for 33 yards. And then the route was on. Carlsbad had a lot of opportunities, just could never capitalize on any of them. And right before the half, Artesia was able to score on a 76-yard run by Caceres. Carlsbad had the ball, tried to move it down the field, and Mr. Hammond was able to intercept it for a 47-yard pick six with 4 seconds left in the second quarter. And that left a running clock for the second half, and that game was over.
Tough way to end a half right there too, isn't it? You know,
Yes, it is.
as we see a lot of times in rivalry games like this, you know, that it can get going one way and really turn into a rout like that. You know, a lot of times in this game we've seen a lot of close ones. But what do you think was the biggest difference in this one?
The biggest difference was Artesia capitalizing on turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Carlsbad had some chances. They tried to fake punt, come up a couple yards short. They had a guy wide open, the 5-yard line, dropped it going into the end zone. And you can't do that against an experienced team like this Artesia team.
Right.
Artesia was able to capitalize on those mistakes and put it in.
Yeah, it appeared like, you know, you were saying a little earlier that the line of scrimmage was really dominated by the Bulldogs as well. Is that right? Which is kind of rare, right?
That's pretty rare to see. Artesia moved a lot of men in and out of the front seven, and it was able to dominate the line of scrimmage, and that's very rare against the Carlsbad Cavemen team. They typically pride themselves on that.
Yeah, you know, and you know, we've both seen this game quite a few times, and generally speaking, like you said, the bigger teams generally in Carlsbad, you know, when it comes to those line of scrimmage areas. So that's different. Obviously, this Artesia team being the defending state champion in Class 5A, but Carlsbad kind of came in with a high ranking. Do you feel like maybe it was just a case of them this kind of getting away from them a little bit, or you know they still got a little work to do?
The first game of the season for a new coach, rebuilding the team. Positives for Carlsbad, they have some players. They always do.
Right.
And the biggest positive I see is its offense isn't completely one-dimensional. Last-dimensional, it could not throw the ball at all. And this year they really tried to throw the ball. And I believe that as the season progresses, they'll get better at throwing the ball, and it'll really help their running game. And on that note, Carlsbad wasn't ever able to shorten the game up against Artesia, and against this Artesia offense, you got to do that. I mean, Artesia 439-yard total offense, very balanced, 237 yards passing, 202 yards rushing. To Carlsbad's 215, so that right there attests to the play from the Artesia defense today.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like that's kind of how it went. Thanks a lot for being out there for us tonight, Rusty. You know, hopefully we can get you back out here on the show again for us. We appreciate that though, for sure, you being out there. And again, big win for the Artesia Bulldogs tonight, folks. 55-7 over the Carlsbad Cavemen. That's a big win for Artesia coming into the season. Tough loss for Carlsbad, but I think they can bounce back, you know, with this new coach who's had some success of his own in the past. Back here on the News Sun, Friday night snap count. I have the sports editor of the Hobbs News Sun, Jason Farmer, on the line right here. He was there in Clovis for the big game of the night here. A big win for the Hobbs Eagles over the Clovis Wildcats, 41-13. Jason, tell me all about how this went down.
You know, there's a lot of question marks going into the season. The team graduated a lot of people. They only brought back 4 on the offensive side, 3 on the defensive side, but the defense really stepped up. Zayden McPherson was the number 2 leading tackler last year. He made the first tackle of the game for the defense. He recovered a fumble. Hobbs forced 3 turnovers, I want to say it was, fumbles. They forced them, recovered them. They scored on their first drive of the game. They built up a lead. They never trailed. Clovis did drive, and it looked like they found something, but Hobbs adjusted and kept them out the rest of the game until the final drive of the game. I mean, they played a great game.
Haven't been the sports editor at this newspaper like you have before. I don't remember a time when Hobbs ever had this kind of success against a Clovis program. I was here in the early 2000s, and that wasn't the way it went. So tell us about, this is win number 3 in a row against Clovis?
Yep, it's a third win in a row. They won last year, the previous year before that. It's the first time they've won 3 games in a row over Clovis since 98, 99, 2000. It's the first time they've had back-to-back wins with over 40 points. And I was talking to one of the players before the game tonight, and he said he had never lost to Clovis in his varsity time as a senior. Going into it, he wanted to make sure he kept that streak going. And Kenyon Johnson, he did just that. He's now won 3 games in a row over Clovis.
Yeah, big win for Hobbs tonight. Now, obviously, next week they match up with those Artesia Bulldogs on the road. They are coming off of a win over them last season as well. What are you expecting from this game after they went out and beat Carlsbad tonight, 55-7?
Well, they had to stop the run tonight. And everybody knows Artesia, Clovis is a run team. Artesia is a throwing team. So they're going to, we saw what they could do against the run. It's going to be completely different next week when they go against Artesia, though, because they are a passing team. They always have been.
It's always nice to start the season with a win. But how much more nicer is it to start the season with a win over Clovis?
It's always nice to kick a Wildcat, and so starting off against Clovis with the win, it's huge. It's a good step in the right direction. But we still got room for improvement, obviously. We had a lot of mistakes, I thought, both sides of the ball, special teams. And so we got to get back to work, and we're going to have to be better next week.
Next week, we're at Artesia.
Yes, sir.
What do you do to get ready for that?
We got to improve. We got to improve, and then we got to get ready to stop the pass. So we had to gear up to stop the run. Now we got to go against something completely different and flip the switch. And so defensively, we've got to get ready to stop the pass. But the number one thing is we got to fix our problems and get better.
Awesome.
This looks like a good Hobbs team. He just looks like talk to me about this quarterback and what he did tonight.
Beatty, he's a transfer in. He actually came in from Carlsbad. And, when we talked after the game, one of the things he told me is he came from a predominantly running team in Carlsbad, and now he's in a team where he can throw here with Hobbs. And on Hobbs' first drive, he connected with Justin Black on a huge 35-yard touchdown to get the Eagles on the board. And he looked great. And what Ken told me was, while he did have some things he needs to improve on, he did not turn the ball over. And that's key, because you don't turn the ball over, you have a better chance of winning. I mean, look at Clovis tonight. They turned it over 3 times. They turned it over on downs at least another 4 times. When you turn the ball over, you don't have a very good chance at winning. And we kept possession of the ball when we needed to tonight.
Tell us a little bit about that Lovington game that obviously Lovington kind of took it on the chin. Roswell, another one of those 5A powerhouse teams. Lovington, of course, a 4A team, but hosting them tonight kind of took a tough one there, losing, 41-18?
Yeah. Lovington packs a huge, heavy schedule. They like to play big teams. They like to get a lot of experience. It doesn't always look pretty in the win column, but it sure helps them build for when they get to their district schedule and then they run that table.
Yeah. Now are they the defending champions in that?
They won their district last year. They won the state title last year. They did the year before, though.
Okay, yeah. So so that, obviously, when you go up against the Artesias and Roswells and Goddards, and which I think they play all three right this year. So, I think you've kind of seen that from Lovington in the past. I think that's kind of been the way it's always been there, is that they're gonna front load that schedule with tough teams and be kind of battle tested, right?
I remember when Anthony Gonzalez came in here my second year here, and he's done, he's improved that team every year. He always has them ready to play. He's one of the best coaches I enjoy working with. I love what he does with the players, and they seem to really work well for him.
Right. Yep. Tell us a little bit about last night with you had the Eunice and Jal both getting wins in their first games of the season as well. Obviously, tonight we did have a cancellation from the Tatum game. They didn't get to play. They had Magdalena didn't have enough players to play the game, so it got canceled. But you got another two big wins from Lee County schools in Eunice and Jal. Yeah,
Jal is the defending Class 2A champions. They won. They were 13-0 last year. They went over to Las Cruces and played Centennial's junior varsity last night, and they went out there and took care of business.
Continued to roll, yeah. So that's 14 straight wins now, huh?
It is. And then, they're up there playing Raton, who has owned them the last couple of years. And, it was a close battle the first quarter. They were down 7-0. They went into the break, tied 7-7. And then the points just started flowing there in the second half. Eunice actually trailed briefly for one possession, but they held on. They got the win over the Class 3A Raton team. Eunice looks good this year. They bring back a lot of players. They look really good this year.
Wow, that's a big win for them, being a 2A school, and to beat a 3A power like that. That's got to come in pretty good for them. Hey, yeah, okay. Well, that's big tonight. That's going to wrap it up here for the Friday night snap count with Jason Farmer. We will get back in touch with you this week and preview some of these games coming up for next week. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about with this Artesia and Hobbs game, but we'll be previewing all this area's action coming up this week on Thursday. But thanks a lot for joining us on the show tonight, Jason.
You got it. Appreciate the time.
All right, bud. Folks, I would like to welcome thank everybody again for showing up for our first edition of the Friday Night Snap Count presented by the Hobbs News Sun. Remember, you can help us out, get your children, your football players onto the show by making sure that you take some of that video that you're already taking on your iPhone and send it this way. That link will be in the description. All you got to do is send it right there to to sports@hobbsnews.com, or you can send it to mine at jw@hofmedia.us. Either way, any video like that will be helpful, and we'll make sure to get your coach involved in it too. Make sure that all these coaches know about it. Athletic directors, everybody, your team should be part of the show. We want to make it part of the show. Live on Friday nights would be even better, but we'll get to that as soon as we can. Hey, if anybody'd like to sponsor the show and help us continue to get this content out for the folks of Southeastern New Mexico, hey, let us know. Again, jw@hofmedia.us, and we'll get drop us a line, jw@hofmedia.us. Tell us what you'd like to do to help the show. Folks, we'll definitely be getting out there. Coaches, get a hold of us. Let's definitely get you on the show for previews and then the Friday night thing too. Thanks so much for joining us on this first edition. We'll see you on the next one.